Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. Welcome to this 2021 edition of the annual conference of Enterprise Europe Network. It's a pleasure to have you with us. My name is Florence Ranson, and I will be your moderator for part of the sessions. This conference, as you know, is organized jointly by the European Commission and ESMEA. ESMEA is the European Innovation Council and SMEs Executive Agency. This year, we're very kindly hosted by our German partners, all four of them. So I'd like particularly to thank the Baden-Württemberg International, the Ministry of Economic Affairs, Labor and Housing, Steinbeiß Europa Zentrum, and the Handwerk International of Baden-Württemberg. Thank you very much for welcoming us and hosting this conference. As I said, it's a great pleasure to be here, and it's an even greater pleasure to be here in person with some people in the audience, not a full house, because of course it's still difficult for a lot of us to travel. So I know that there are already several hundred of you connected and following us online. And it is a first because the sessions are going to be web streamed for the first time in this conference. Before we dive into the heart of the matter, I'd like to make a few housekeeping points. First of all, we do have a hashtag for this event. It's hashtag EEN21. So please don't hesitate to use this hashtag, to spread it on social media, and to make known the fact that we're having a conference, that we are exchanging a lot of information and very interesting issues. We will also, of course, connect. As you know, I mean, the people here in the room are connected to our Wi-Fi system, which is EEN_free_Wi-Fi. So if you are not yet connected, for those of you here in the room, please do so. And that means you have no excuse not to be online and following us in the breakout sessions when we have a more interactive approach. We also encourage all of you, whether in the room or online, to use our swap card. Swap card is the platform that you use to register to this event, and if you go now to the platform, you will be able to find, of course, more information, not only about the program, but also opportunities to exchange with participants, whether they're here in Stuttgart or at home. You will also be able to register for the breakout sessions, and that's very important because you know that a lot of our program is split into breakout sessions where you really will be able to exchange with one another, so don't forget to register for those. And also, I'm told that you are able to organize bilateral meetings with other participants until Monday afternoon at 4 o'clock. So you have a few days ahead of you. If you haven't been able to connect with somebody now, you can maybe connect with them and arrange a meeting at a later stage. Now that we have established all these practical, technical aspects, let's look together at what lies ahead in the coming 2 days. We've just been through an extremely difficult 18 months. That's economically, that's, of course, personally for many of us, socially, and thank God it looks like we're nearing the recovery phase. We're starting the recovery phase, but we all know that it's not over yet, and that caution is still needed. So are all of our efforts. In this context, we know that SMEs were very badly hit in many cases, and there's still a lot of sectors in which the consequences of the pandemic are strongly felt. That's exactly where the Enterprise Europe Network plays an essential role in helping SMEs first go through the crisis, get through the crisis, but now recover from the crisis. And we know, of course, that SMEs are at the core of Europe's economic health. They are at the core of our business life. Over the next 2.5 days, together, we will listen, we will exchange, we will share experience. We will try to understand why and how, in some cases, the pandemic, the resilience which was brought by the pandemic has been a fantastic opportunity for some SMEs. We'll also try to unlock the secrets of some very successful partnerships. And we will discuss digitalization, innovation, transformation, but also sustainability. I know sustainability is a buzzword and everybody talks about it, but it is all the more important for SMEs. Because if the crisis has highlighted one thing, it is that resilient and sustainable business models are badly needed. Our network enters into a new phase as of next year. And as it does so, it will increasingly support companies that address today's most pressing challenges. What are those? Clearly, climate change, social inclusion, greening the economy, but also harnessing new economic opportunities for those SMEs. This means that, of course, our network is going to have to continue to provide solid strategic advice. But not only that. It means that companies are going to need an environment that encourages innovation, facilitates the development and the transfer of technologies, but also of new ideas. With this in mind, that is how the network is going to play an absolutely key role in supporting these SMEs. We'll be hearing throughout the conference many examples that show how sustainability, resilience, and competitiveness are in fact complementary. They work together and they generate more cooperation, more cohesion for the general good. Throughout the last 18 months, many SMEs and network partners have actually built on the crisis. I was talking about resilience earlier, but that's exactly what came out of it, because they have used the crisis as a catalyst for change. They have created new services, devised new ways of selling their products, new ways of working, and they have also developed new ways of interacting with their customers, with their partners. As part of this program over the conference, we will honor some of the SMEs that have been particularly successful at doing so and have turned the crisis into opportunities. In a few minutes, later on this afternoon, we will be handing out the Resilience Award, and that's a first, and we'll come back to that in a little more detail. Later on today, we will also be handing out the Network OHS Award, that stands for Occupational and Health Promotion. Tomorrow, we'll award the prizes for special recognition and for best practices. And on Friday, of course, we will be handing the prestigious awards of the Enterprise Europe Network. So stay tuned, make sure you do follow us, make sure you find out who those winners are, and make sure you support us in honoring them. But before we do so, and before we go further in our program, I'd like to first introduce the hosts and the organizers of this conference and invite their representatives to deliver a few opening remarks. To start with, I will ask the representative of the State Secretary for European Policy at the Federal Ministry for Economic Affairs and Energy, Ms. Claudia de Vos, who unfortunately could not be with us in person, but she's recorded a message for us.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am delighted that we now have the opportunity to hold the annual meeting of the Enterprise Europe Network in Stuttgart after this proved impossible last year. And thank you very much also to the colleagues of the Baden-Württemberg Ministry for Economics, Labor and Tourism, my colleague Director General Michael Kleiner, and also to the representatives of the European Commission. Ladies and gentlemen, you have created a good forum for discussions on issues that are important to SMEs and for new momentum to be generated. Let me start by thanking you for giving small and medium-sized enterprises such valuable support during the COVID-19 crisis. At challenging times like these, it is especially important for companies to be able to draw on your expertise and know-how, and to have your support. When the European Commission presented its SME strategy in March last year, the pandemic was just starting to spread throughout Europe. By the time we took over the Council presidency on July 1st, the economic and social repercussions of the pandemic could already be felt clearly in all the member countries. Today, 1.5 years into the pandemic, our daily lives continue to be shaped by COVID-19. Now it is time to work in close cooperation with all the EU member states to learn the right lessons from the crisis and drive our economic recovery in a spirit of solidarity. This particularly applies to the 25 million or so European SMEs, which are suffering particularly badly from the effects of the pandemic. In publishing its SME strategy, the European Commission has demonstrated that SME policy is a priority also at European level. And this strategy will remain in force even when the pandemic is over. It is time to safeguard the resilience and competitiveness of European SMEs. We want to support SMEs through the digital and ecological transformations, cut red tape, and improve access to financing. SMEs are enablers of digital and ecological change. What you need is a framework that is SME-friendly, with as little bureaucracy as necessary, and which enables you to develop and implement innovative business models, products and services. For this reason, we need a strong and visible EU SME policy that truly implements the Think Small First principle. This also includes the swift appointment of a European Commission SME envoy, as announced by the Commission. As we continue our work to support our many small and medium-sized enterprises, we know that we have a strong and long-standing partner at our side in the shape of the Enterprise Europe Network and its 600 organizations. Ladies and gentlemen, you specialize in forging networks between companies and regions and in navigating them to European aid programs and financing opportunities. But your role doesn't stop there. You are also an important partner for us, those taking responsibility in government and in the European Commission. It is by interacting with you that we learn about the areas where red tape and regulation are slowing down business activity. This is why it is so important for you to be able to continue your excellent work on a reliable basis. It is good to see that this annual conference now gives you an opportunity to again engage in dialogue and in seeking fresh, creative momentum for your future work. Have a successful event and fruitful discussions, and thank you very much for listening.
Vielen Dank, Frau de Vos. Thank you very much. And I would like now to invite our next opening speaker, and that's Herr Dr. Michael Kleiner, who's the head of Ministry of Economic Affairs of Baden-Württemberg. Dr. Kleiner? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Dear guests from all over Europe, first of all, I'm really happy to finally have people in flesh and blood in front of me again. It is nicer than always having to deal with digital images. And the good news is we have the chance to keep it that way if we behave responsibly and encourage others to do the same. But of course, I'm also happy of all participants who are digitally present. Nevertheless, the message is Stuttgart is nicer than your study at home. A very warm welcome to the 2021 annual conference of the Enterprise Europe Network. Let me start by thanking you for your commitment and the hard work that makes the EEN a lively, vibrant network. The EEN creates real value. By linking actors across Europe, it enables an exchange of experiences and generates new businesses. In Baden-Württemberg, we are very happy to be part of this network. In a highly internationalized economy like ours, SMEs profit tremendously from the possibilities provided by such networks. We in Baden-Württemberg take great pride in our Mittelstand. Small and medium-sized enterprises are the backbone of our economy. SMEs provide 2 million jobs to our economy, as well as the lion's share of our vocational training. In many of these companies, our almost 200,000 apprentices learn all skills necessary to be successful in their later jobs, from hairdresser to industrial mechanic. It's not easy to translate the very German concept of Mittelstand. So let me add a bit of explanation. Mittelstand is more than just the size of a company. It is also a spirit of being part of the community, down to earth, and having a hands-on approach to the many challenges in modern business. One of these challenges is, for example, the increasing bureaucracy. Most SMEs can't afford a division of MBAs or LLMs to help provide new evidence and reports all the time. In this context, it is probably inevitable that the European Green Deal will also add a host of new rules guiding the way to climate neutrality. There is no alternative to climate protection, but we have to think carefully about how we proceed. Regulation must be achievable and must not overburden SMEs in particular. If the Green Deal is really to be the success our planet needs, we need on board the backbone of our economies. We need to use the innovative potential of SMEs in order to master the transition. Let's not forget, even the biggest companies have humble beginnings. Daimler and Bosch started as backyard workshops right here in Stuttgart. The less we burden SMEs, the more room they have to grow and succeed on a bigger stage. There are countless SMEs in Europe with countless new ideas. Baden-Württemberg has been home to innovators for over 100 years. Making those ideas work and getting them on the market is what counts in the end. That is also why one of our priorities is to link SMEs with applied research institutes and to support the commercialization of innovation. Let me give you an example. We are also home to a growing number of AI startups. Therefore, we are investing 50 million euros in a new innovation park, AI at Heilbronn, creating an innovative ecosystem where young businesses can take off. We hope that some of these startups will be part of and strengthen the backbone of our economy in the future. Ladies and gentlemen, your program over the next days is as diverse as the challenges that SMEs are facing: resilience, sustainability, internationalization, and more. So here is a tip for those who are here in Stuttgart. If you do need a break, there is a whole city to discover. Make your very own contribution to SMEs in the culinary sector and get a taste of Swabian hospitality. In this spirit, I wish you a good course of the meeting, also on behalf of the Minister of Economics Affairs, Ms. Nicole Hofmeister Kraut. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Kleiner. So do discover Stuttgart by all means, but maybe not during the conference. Save it for later on tonight, or maybe on Friday when everything is over and you can spend your Friday afternoon strolling around the streets of Stuttgart. I would like now to invite our next speaker, who's also joining us online, Ms. Maive Rute, and she's the Deputy Director General of DG GROW in the European Commission. Ms. Rute, are you there? Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. So, Dr. Kleiner, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, I would also like to welcome you at the 2021 Enterprise Europe Network Annual Conference on behalf of the European Commission. And for me, participating in this conference is important not only for professional reasons, but in fact, very much also for personal reasons. Some of you might remember that when Enterprise Europe Network got started quite a number of years ago, I was at the very start of this network, director responsible for small business policy at that time. And therefore, really, it's a great pleasure to see how the network has grown and what an incredible, successful endeavor we have today. So as you know, the theme for this year is reconnect, restart, recover. So let's take a quick look at where we are today. The Commission is looking to the future with great optimism. We see that the economy is growing again. We expect this year the GDP growth to be 4.8%, next year 4.5%, which is a good level, and meaning that we are getting back to the pre-crisis level, hopefully already last quarter this year. So it is a good time to look at the future and see how best can Enterprise Europe Network help these small and medium-sized businesses to recover. And I think the triple transition offers us a very good framework to think in these terms. So a more sustainable, digital and resilient future. Our next generation EU, which, as you know, has, of course, a Recover and Resilience Facility. This is really a very clear way how we direct public investments and reforms. And this is a way how the triple transition is going to make appearance, so to say, in the real world. And putting forward this extraordinary package itself is already something that I would say we can consider as a remarkable outcome of these difficult months that we have behind us. So the facility, as you know, offers to member states more than 700 billion euros, and a good share of it is going to be spent on climate purposes. 20% will go to digitalization. So we see that from the European side and from the member states, we are putting a lot of means and ways to really get out of the crisis and pave the way for future. And I would like to highlight perhaps few lessons from the crisis. First, what we saw very clearly is that we need to uphold the single market. And especially in emergency situations like we saw now, this is something we cannot take for granted any longer. Second, we need to address also strategic vulnerabilities, dependencies, be these at technological or industrial side of things, so that we would be better protected from disruptions in our supply chains. And the third lesson from the crisis is, of course, that the business case for green and digital transition is stronger than ever. So maybe a few words on these points. Single market certainly is the core of Europe's economic strength, and we saw that with the pandemic, actually this was no longer the way we had used to having it, borders not so easy any longer to pass and so on. So as we approach the 30th anniversary of single market, we believe that we need to do more. And from the Commission side, we are putting in place a single market emergency instrument, which should make us more prepared to any such crisis in the future and help us address structural situations that might come with emergencies or crises. But we also saw that the fragilities or vulnerabilities in our value chains need to be addressed. And for example, one element that we have become much more aware of is over-dependency on third country suppliers on some of the critical goods. During the pandemic, we realized that even relatively mundane products such as gloves for the medical personnel can become a problem, or of course the masks, which we didn't have in a sufficient number. So, but of course on the more industrial scale, we see that over-dependency on some critical raw materials can be really a hindrance when we look at the need to decarbonize and digitalize our economies. Just to give you a couple of figures, 98% of EU's rare earth element supply comes from China. 71% of our platinum comes from South Africa. And in fact, more than 70% of global production of cobalt and tungsten are subject to export restrictions. So, of course, these various countries with whom we trade, not all of them are, have a similar, let's say, level of democracy, and there could be issues which put the supplies to our industries under risk. So, once these dependencies lead to shortages, there would be indeed there is a need to also look at how we can avoid these situations. And as we well know, we need critical raw materials basically for everything from technologies needed to green transition, but similarly to digitalization, and batteries, solar panels, wind turbines. So all of it needs, of course, input. We are in Stuttgart today, the powerhouse of Germany, in many ways also powerhouse for Europe. Automotive sector is crucial for the local ecosystem. So if we look at it, we see that automotive sector has been actually one that is suffering a lot from supply shortages. We have recently taken a look at various industrial ecosystems, and it appears that in August this year, the share of firms in automotive ecosystem, basically 60% of them have said that they have in one or another way facing shortages of materials and equipment. And this is really a substantial number. So more than half firms in automotive industry are facing shortages in material and equipment. It's quite extraordinary, actually. So it's kind of also aftermath of the pandemic, certainly, but maybe also something we have to look at more carefully when we design our plans, and of course when the companies themselves design plans, and you as Enterprise Europe network can also be of help. Similarly, microelectronics is another one which is heavily impacted. The more the world becomes digital, the more we need microelectronic products. Semiconductors has been a lot in the newspapers recently. So today, 80% of global semiconductor production is located in Asia, while Europe holds only 10%. So normally shouldn't be a big problem until situations arrive like we have now, where the car industry again has to even close the doors for a while if the semiconductors are not available. So the lessons we draw is that we need to diversify our trading partners. We need to build, of course, our own muscles in Europe. And that is why the Commission has launched various alliances. For example, European Raw Material Alliance in 2020. And we are now working also on Industrial Alliance on Semiconductors. And we have recently announced a creation of European Chips Act, which will look at the availability of microelectronics products really in a broad range of things, or a broad range of measures. And of course, it's not a question of wanting to produce everything that we need in Europe. It's a question of diversifying our supply chains and really looking at ways of building then the necessary industrial strength also in Europe, while we are working with our partners abroad. And while the EU aims to remain indeed a top global destination of foreign investment, we still also need to take care that our local production is resilient. And this goes, for example, also as to the electricity availability. We all see the cost of electricity rising. There is a lot of public concern about this issue. And we see that we should, again, learn from the situation to boost energy transition towards decarbonization, build up the production more quickly than we perhaps have managed so far, so that we can again rely more on the renewable sources of energy, be it through the solar panels or wind parks. And in fact, solar power, we see, will be a key contributor in achieving our Green Deal goals, and is the fastest growing energy source globally and also in the EU. We project that solar deployment in the EU will actually more than double between now and 2030, and then from 2030 to 2050 we will again most likely triple. So this means that the pace of adding solar panels to the grid will really also need to go up very quickly. And there we see that Enterprise Europe Network can be a big facilitator in this transition. Having sufficient decarbonized electricity at affordable price is something that the industries, the small businesses keep repeating to us when we meet. So really, this is a key point for industry decarbonization, and I see there a role for the network as well to help this, to facilitate this transition. And with this in mind, what we do also from Commission end is to help this kind of pathway thinking to appear. We have suggested creating, together with the stakeholders and member states, the so-called transition pathways for both digitization purposes as well as resilience building and digitalization. And the idea there is to take the big ambitious targets which we have and turn them into something that would be informing our next steps more clearly. We have already launched work in the ecosystems such as tourism, mobility, construction, also energy-intensive industry. So those which have been hit more by the pandemic, and those which will really bear a lot of the weight of the green transition. So we are very much aware of the importance of small and medium-sized businesses in all these industrial ecosystems, and also, of course, the role SMEs play in the transition and recovery. So we see that with your help, we can help the SMEs, and we can also then harness better the enormous potential that SMEs have. Last year, we have adopted SME strategy, and the European Commission launched quite a number of ambitious measures to help SMEs reap the fruits of this twin transition. And we believe that together with Enterprise Europe Network in its new format, we can do more. EEN has grown and has delivered in the last years already quite some remarkable achievements or deliverables. And only from last year, maybe I'll mention a couple of figures which indicate the magnitude of your work. We see that 3,626 SMEs got funded via Horizon 2020. More than or almost 31,000 clients received partnering services. More than 2,700 partnering agreements have been signed, and thousands and thousands of meetings and network brokerage events, company missions have happened. And SMEs report back also very good outcome as to impact on job creation. So you are making a difference on the ground. And we believe that there is still scope to deliver even a bit more. And that's why we are looking for the network to be renewed as from January next year. So an upgraded network with even better performance compared to what we have seen so far, where the clients come first and where the clients are supported throughout their growth journey. It must be a network that supports innovation, of course, and delivers on core parts of our policy agenda. And it must be also a network that works in partnership with other actors, such as clusters network, Erasmus for young entrepreneurs, and why not the industrial alliances, which I mentioned. We also now have a new form of industry dialogue, which we call Industrial Forum. And this is there to also facilitate this transition to green and digital economy. And this could also be a way of collaboration between the new network and this industry forum. So, and it must be, of course, a network that is agile and moves quick when we get new situations or where the priorities change. So we have therefore announced that the joint action between EEN and clusters will come up, and we will use our network to help SMEs become more resilient. So one of the elements there, as I already mentioned, under the resilience is the supply chain fragility or strength, which we would like to address. We would also like to see whether we can use or help SMEs to find new suppliers, connecting to local and cross-border partners. We would like to see how there could be other ways of addressing vulnerabilities, building up also production locally. And we will be coming forward with practical ideas, which I'm sure the network members themselves will be able to suggest. One element that helps is that we will have dedicated sustainability advisors in place across Europe. So these will be people that can advise the SMEs on green tech innovation, energy efficiency, electricity generation, and why not also how to use or how to install solar panels, if that's something that the businesses would want to go for. And we would like to see a seamless cooperation with digital innovation hubs so that we can also support SME digitalization. And last but not least, it must be a global network. So a global network which indeed will help the SME internationalization. And I'm very glad that my colleague Denis Redonnet will be speaking after me about the role EEN can play in supporting trade. So reconnect, restart, recover. This is indeed the kind of the slogan or the kind of the devise of the times we are living now. And I'm convinced that the Enterprise Europe Network can play a big role to help our companies achieve these triple targets that we have ahead of us. Thank you a lot, and I wish you a very good conference. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mrs. Rutte. I would like now to invite our next speaker, who's also joining us online, Mr. Denis Redonnet. Denis Redonnet is the Deputy Director General for Director General Trade at the European Commission, and he's also the Chief Trade Enforcement Officer. Mr. Redonnet, are you there? Hello, good afternoon, and welcome. Over to you.
Very good. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Be able to join you, albeit virtually and not in Stuttgart, for the annual conference on behalf indeed of another part of the Commission, of the Director General for Trade. I'm very happy to be joining my colleague May Rutte in doing this. From our perspective, this conference takes place at a time when, on the Commission side, we are pushing ahead with a host of efforts to make sure that economic stakeholders in Europe benefit as much as possible from the international trade commitments that we negotiate through the EU's trade policy, notably small and medium-sized enterprises. Very clear that international markets, global markets, remain an important source of growth for European SMEs. They account for 1/3 of all extra-EU exports. And to support this access to global markets, we are negotiating as EU, as a trading bloc, a range of trade agreements. We have 39 preferential trade agreements in place with 69 partners worldwide. Of course, these agreements, these trade treaties are only as good as their implementation. And in this regard, one of the biggest challenges is delivering the opportunities and the benefits closer to the stakeholder communities. And to get there, we must pull the right levers. Now, one of the steps that we are doing out of the Commission in this direction is to provide user-friendly, up-to-date information about the opportunities opened up by trade agreements. For this, on the Commission side, we have launched a number of tools. Last year, we've launched the Access to Markets platform, which provides companies with easy-to-access, one-stop shop source of information on our free trade agreements, on the 120 export destinations that are in the database, and on markets outside the EU. More generally, features relating to how trade agreements operates. I'm thinking, for example, about the complex issues relating to rules of origin on the trade agreements. And it is a tool that is used. Today, Access to Markets has up to 10,000 users and hits on a daily basis. We have also set up last year a single entry point, a sort of one-stop shop for companies to be able to come with complaints and concerns to the Commission about the barriers that they face in accessing third country markets. Obviously, a lot of work still lies ahead to reach with these tools our economic stakeholders, in particular smaller companies across the EU. And this cannot be done by the Commission alone. The network, your network, can play a decisive role here. Network members, when providing advice to clients for international growth or when brokering partnerships, will also be able to provide information on trade agreements. Of course, when it comes to this joining of forces in raising the awareness and unlocking the benefits from trade agreements, European trade agreements, in our relationship, Commission network, not start from scratch. A lot of work has actually been done, including before we were hit by the pandemic. In 2019, for example, the creation of an EEN ad hoc working group was instrumental in producing, for example, an internal guide on how to strengthen the network advisors' capacity to assist businesses when it comes to import and exports from countries outside the EU. We now have FTA contact points that are in place throughout the network. And we held, under COVID, a virtual train-the-trainer session for the network last November to introduce the new Access to Markets platform. And more recently, we have been able to hold a number of physical events, trade fairs, in the context of the roadshows that we are doing around the Access to Market platform. In France, in Bulgaria, other events will be taking place in the Netherlands, in Greece, and the Czech Republic. And in our view, these events are a good opportunity to reach out to the SME community locally. And the network members' assistant is extremely important here to help make these connections with local businesses in country, in member states. So from our perspective, it's probably a good moment, and the conference offers a good opportunity to take stock also of what more has been done and what more can be done on either part of our partnership. I'm thinking, for example, as of this coming year, 2022, under the new network, the provision of import, export, and FTA-related services that will be fully integrated in the EEN client journey. That's an important step. And also, as Maeve indicated in her introduction, the the first global EEN call for international network partners is going to be also an important step in that it invites potential partners in international growth markets to become international network partners. So helping their clients to connect with European companies and bring these partners to the table, we hope, will be an important element to increase the utilization of the benefits of free trade agreements across a whole range of areas. I would just like to finish by saying that on the occasion of the conference in the next couple of days, to some of the specific discussions that are planned. I'm thinking in particular about the thematic session on network internationalization that will be taking place later in the program. We hope that this is going to provide food for thought on how to further promote trade agreements and their opportunities to SMEs. I also hope that it will produce concrete suggestions on how we, Commission, DG Trade, DG Grow, can further support the activities of the network. We will be interested in your feedback on things that have taken place so far, trainings, events held so far, and as well as feedback on our own outreach efforts as you observe them in member states. We will be interested in learning throughout this conference about how you have used the information that is available through the instruments that I have highlighted, and how you plan to integrate the issue of trade agreement in your daily work and client relationships. So for us, excellent opportunity to have that stock taking today's and this conference. We very much see as an opportunity to align our respective agendas against a common aim, which is really to support SME internationalization and for trade agreements in that to be a facilitator. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Redonnet. Thank you very much. And I will now invite our last, but certainly not least speaker, because he's also representing one of the two co-organizers of this event. I'd like to call Jean-David Malo, who's the director of SMEA. Mr. Malo, are you there? Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Malo, over to you.
Good afternoon, and thank you very much for the opportunity to be with you, even if it is virtually, for this annual conference of the Enterprise Europe Network. Maybe in a few words to say a little bit more of who I am and what we did in the context of the newly created European Innovation Council and Small and Medium Enterprise Executive Agency, so ESMEA, which is a successor of EASME, in fact, so in continuity, but going beyond what EASME was doing. The purpose of our agency is clearly to provide high-quality support to European innovators, researchers, businesses, and consumers. And consequently, one of my main objectives over the past 6 months has been clearly to ease the transition towards the new mandates for the period 2021-2027. This entailed, of course, optimizing the offer of funding programs dedicated to SMEs, and equally high on my agenda, therefore, is consolidating the good reputation of ESMEA within the business community and continue involving the most promising companies in our programs. And I firmly convinced that partnering with the network is in this context absolutely strategic, especially if we want to achieve our goals, if we want to make ESMEA an essential innovation booster in Europe. I mean, your capacity to talk to companies, to support them in participating in EU funding opportunities is in this context absolutely crucial. Let me share with you a couple of considerations in this opening moment. Firstly, I do believe that we have to work together to fully recover disruption brought by the COVID-19 pandemic. I mean, during the pandemic, the EN has shown a remarkable capacity to adapt and keep offering high-value services to SMEs all over Europe. This entails for many of you better integration in your regions and in addition, strategic cooperation started with new stakeholders. I refer here especially to those consortia that took advantages of the crisis and started providing new services to boost innovation and therefore accompanied startup and SMEs into a virtuous journey despite the difficult circumstances. The network for me is also a place where people and technology go hand in hand. And this is a success factor that surely made a difference for the many companies experiencing difficulties these last months that have been helped over these last years. I'm warmly encourage you to continue along this path and make the best use in this context of digitalization, which is clearly one of the objective and challenge that we have to cope with. Secondly, I do believe that, and it was recalled already by Deputy Director General Maïve Rutte, but also by our colleague from DG Trade, we have to help our companies to be very active in the various transitions that we have in front of us. I mean, Maïve mentioned all of them. I will not repeat all of them, but I will focus in particular to the European Green Deal. I want to praise the network for going greener and increasing the efforts to help SMEs in their transition to more sustainable business models. There are already promising examples, and I have in particular in mind the Mall House developed in Slovakia thanks to a cooperation between a visionary entrepreneur and a local EEN partner. But I do believe that there are a lot of opportunities to go even beyond this. I'm just very confident that the network sustainability advisors will play in this context a key role and will contribute even more to set Europe leadership in environmental friendly innovation solution. Thirdly, we have also to provide support to our entrepreneur, our SMEs, our startup in the new industrial revolution, which is clearly deep tech oriented. And in particular, we have clearly to provide them with the necessary means to turn their ideas into concrete processes, innovation products, and of course, in the context of the creation of new companies. And in this context, I mean, the role of the EEN network to accompany the new flagship of the European Union dedicated to the support of deep tech technologies and the scale-up of companies, the European Innovation Council, the role of the EEN in this context will be clearly instrumental. To conclude, you have noted, I'm sure, that the program of the conference is clearly an opportunity to talk about all of this. I mean, Maïve recalled it a few minutes ago, to talk in particular about resilience and recovery. And if I could point out one of our sessions during these days, I would like to invite you to join in particular the session later this afternoon, which is called Coming Back Stronger, and where we will discuss in particular how the EEN can help our startup and SMEs to bounce back and to become more resilient. So just to avoid to have a too long talk, just to tell you that you should take every opportunity over the coming days to express and exchange your views on the network's future direction, and especially give your feedback on that work, on what works, on what does not work, and what can be improved. And you can count on ESMEA in particular, the European Commission, more generally, to support you in this context. I wish you all a very fruitful and successful conference.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Malo. So thank you to all of our speakers for helping us set the scene, and now we know what lies ahead in our busy 2 days of conference. Now the time has come to launch our first award. This first award is the Resilience Award, a first for the Enterprise Europe Network, and we'll soon understand why. In order to welcome the winners and hand over the award, I would like to call Ulla Engelmann, who is the Acting Director for Networks and Governance of DG GROW of the European Commission, and Natalia Martinez-Paramo, who's head of the unit SMP COSME Pillar of EASME. Good afternoon to both of you. It's a pleasure to have you with us. So, Ulla, why this Resilience Award? It's a first.
Yes, absolutely. But it's also a first that we had a pandemic, no? So I think special measures, special events trigger special measures. And when the pandemic started and we have seen that our SMEs needed quick support, we realized there were a lot of very good examples outside in the world to see how these SMEs were supported and how the network reacted. So we wanted to share this best practice, and we want to make available what has been done, because great help has been provided. It was necessary to help the resilience to react fast, and this is what we want to award with this resilience.
Very good. So I understand you had a whole selection process. You had 3 nominees in the end. I mean, the winners know they are the winners because that was already announced last year. But this is really more for the pleasure of handing over the award personally. But who were the finalists?
So we had 3 finalists. So the Croatian Chamber of Economy, then from Zagreb, together with Nouvelle-Aquitaine via Limoges, and Haute-Vienne Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Then the second were the partners Lublin Development Foundation and Praxi Network. And the third one, Technology Center CAS Prague, also with a Praxi Network.
And who won and why?
Who won? So as you said, it's not so much of a surprise.
It's not so much of a surprise.
Because it was announced at the EEN days. So the Croatian Chamber of Economy in Zagreb, together with CCI Nouvelle-Aquitaine, and they supported WUPLAST, a family-owned company from Croatia. And this company has seized the opportunity to start an innovative product, a water-soluble plastic bag to wash contaminated clothes. And then this bag is made of 100% recyclable material and has a PVC strap to prevent potential spill of toxic substances. So, and with the help of the network, they help to commercialize the product and also secure a first order from a French hospital in collaboration with the CCI Nouvelle-Aquitaine. So, a real European story.
Absolutely. So we're very lucky and very happy to have with us today the representatives of the winning company, whom I'd like to invite to join us on stage, please. And if you would like to join us and maybe say a few words. First of all, receive your award from the hands of Natalia.
To whom?
Congratulations.
Thank you. That's for you. Ola, you would like to say a few words?
Hello, everyone. As a small family collective, we are extremely proud of the award, mostly because we know how difficult business moments are behind us. However, it is just a confirmation of quality and dedicated work that had lasted for 30 years and the motive to continue like this. Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations, and can I invite you and Natalia as well for a few photos, a little photo shoot moment here on this side of the stage, within respect of distances, of course, as always. Thank you very much. Thank you, all of you. Thank you, Lara and Natalia. And congratulations again to our winners. Now, thank all of you for joining us and for honoring the winners. I would like now to move on to the second part of our opening ceremony. And for that, I will invite our German partners to take over the floor and share with us their experience of client journey, how it has worked, how it's working, why, and what it's leading to. And for that, I would like to invite Anke Wiegand, who is our Berlin partner für Wirtschaft und Technologie, to take over the floor. Anke? No? Sorry. Anke, please.
Dear colleagues and friends, as a member of the EEN Germany Speakers Group, I am very pleased to welcome you all here in Stuttgart on site and all the colleagues who are on the screens at the moment at home. Together with 3 outstanding SME entrepreneurs from Germany who will be later on stage with me, Mr. Hagen from the company Industrial Solar, Mr. Hule from the company Corevas, and Mr. Roskopf from the company Kies GmbH. With me on stage will also be my dear team colleagues from the EEN Germany Speakers Group, Dr. Petra Püchner and Michael Rössler, and Andrea Dohle, who is our EEN Germany Communication Champion. Reconnect, renew, recover. This is the motto of this year's annual conference. We have learned during the Corona period that our network has been able to react very quickly to the new situation and has proven to be very adaptable and flexible. We can all be proud of this. Together with our partners and stakeholders, we provided an outstanding support to our customers, the small and medium-sized enterprises, on their sometimes very rocky and difficult paths in the last months. Each of us was at their side to find new ways and new solutions for broken supply chains, for developing new and innovative business models in these difficult times, and for overcoming financial gaps together with our partners and stakeholders at the EU and on national and on regional level. Now is the time to get back to normal and to overcome this very crucial situation. Dear participants, you know the success of all our efforts depends on our successful clients and companies. That is why I'm very happy to be able to ask 3 of them now to come on stage as ambassadors of the EEN. They will tell us their stories and will provide a living proof that our work and our network really does have an impact on businesses, their regions, and their countries. We will start now our journey with Industrial Solar, and Mr. Hagen and Dr. Petra Püchner. And Petra, the stage is yours.
I hope this is working. Yeah, it's working. Yeah, I'm very happy to present you one of our clients and part of the client journey that we made with him, Martin Hagen. He is the CEO of Industrial Solar. And maybe you best say who you are and what you are doing.
Thank you very much, Dr. Püchner. I'm I'm not the CEO, but a long time I'm employee,
but
just to
one of the founders.
So, but I'm happy, and I think that's why we're here to exchange on the network, and we are using the network quite often to explain and to better understand why and how we're using. I would like to say a few words on industrial solar. So we are a solution provider for solar process heating, mainly for solar energy in the industrial sector. We have been founded 2008 in Freiburg, and since then provide solutions to decarbonize the industry. We all know decarbonization is difficult, and in the industry it's specifically difficult. Over the past years, we have developed first the technology and commercialized it to implement real projects in the industry, not only in Germany and Southern Europe, but also abroad. And now already I come to the first point. We are comparatively small companies, so we are an international company, and therefore networking is very important, which unfortunately without strong partners we cannot do, but luckily there are entities like the Enterprise Europe Network.
Yeah, as you said, for startups, you are a startup from Fraunhofer, you founded from Fraunhofer. You need financing, of course, you need partners, you need strategic partners, and you need internationalization. And if you visit their website, you will see that they have started a lot of international projects and a lot of partner searches, and so you could increase your partnership. What was the benefit of this increase in partnership that you had through the Enterprise Europe Network brokerage events?
So we need partners. When I talk about partners, it's not only partners from the supply chains or customers, but also partners in research or for dissemination, like entities which help us to understand our target markets, which are mainly in regions which are even more sunnier than Southern Europe. So for example, even more sunny than here, so south of Europe, Italy, Greece, Spain, Portugal. And as I said, for us, collecting this information is not so easy, but through entities like the network, we can first get information which is provided, and we can participate in events to get to know partners from all these chains, clients, research partners, suppliers. And also often during the development and commercialization of our projects, it's for us important also to cooperate with SMEs in our target markets, and this is really the biggest advantage for us, that what we have often done in the past, we have used the function to look for partners where we have filled a profile, and through the European network we got to know partners, potential partners, which we could then directly exchange, and we would have never found them ourselves.
Right. And then there was an opportunity within this client journey. As Steinbach's Europa Zentrum, we also have a project Innovate under Horizon 2020, which enables to validate new market chances in foreign markets outside of the European Union. And there was a chance with Chile. And you participated in that, and you were one of the winners. You were identified, and you received 60,000 euro, which was 70% of the budget that you had to validate the market. Can you say a few words on that? It was with Chile, and it was again on your expertise on solar steam.
Yeah. So. First of all, we would not have even known about this project without the network, but now to make it a bit more concrete, for those who can see also in very small, so we provide a technology which allows to provide high temperature heat to industrial processes. This is especially interesting in sunny countries, so Chile is one of the most sunniest countries in the world. They have high energy prices. That's why they look for solar energy, and they have a lot of mining, which is very energy intensive. We knew all this. We knew that we have a technology which fits these requirements, but making it into practice, understanding local supply chains, understanding also local regulations or technical specificities. For example, how about the situation with earthquakes? These things we cannot answer ourselves, but the project which was just mentioned, Innovate, helped us to go abroad. The condition was that we connect with a local partner, which we already had. So, and then jointly with our local partner, we could, in theory, go through the complete project and understand what is needed, what are the opportunities, and what are eventually also challenges or bottlenecks in implementing such projects with our solution which we have developed to Chile, because in Chile we unfortunately have never realized a project yet, and this Innovate project helped SMEs like us to go abroad and really support them in these phases. Our activities are project business, so if we go, the projects are large, but it needs preparation, and Innovate helped us to prepare the market entry for the Chilean market, which is, as I said, one of the most interesting markets for us.
Yeah, so we're very happy as Enterprise Europe Network partner to be able to support industrial solar, to bring our green innovations that we have here in Europe to countries like Chile and many other countries. And if you want to hear more about industrial solar, it's also one of the success stories on the website of Baden-Wurttemberg Zentrum, and I think also on the platform here of the EEN annual conference. So thank you for listening, and I pass over to Anke again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Petra and Mr. Hagen. It was an amazing story. And I now invite Andrea Dohle and Mr. Hule from Corevas GmbH to come on stage and tell us about their experience. Andrea? Please.
Yes, hello. Welcome, Victor, to Stuttgart. I'm very pleased, and it's wonderful to have you here on the stage as one of our companies from North Rhine-Westphalia, as one of our ambassadors. Please, could you please introduce yourself and your project, Emergency Eye, and your company, Corevas?
Yeah, of course. Thank you, Andrea. Thanks for having me. For everybody else, my name is Victor Hule. I'm the founder of Emergency Eye, and I'm also responsible for the partnership development at our company, Corevas, which is based near Düsseldorf. So we developed, as Corevas, we developed the Emergency Eye technology. And the Emergency Eye technology supports service and emergency centers in providing a better, faster, and more efficient help. And there has been a serious incident dating back to 2016, or 2016, and there my parents were seriously injured in Brittany, France, and that led to the concept of using the caller's smartphone to receive valuable information from the on-site situation and then trigger the best support and help possible. Our purpose has been to develop a communication software that can be used by everybody and help people in crises and save lives. The initial idea focused on exactly that, so helping people in emergency situations. However, due to the support of Enterprise Europe Network and 2 Horizon 2020 grants, and as well as regional and national funds from the German federal government, several industries became very interested in our technology and saw the benefits of having an on-site video and other information from the caller. So in the meantime, our Emergency Eye technology is now being deployed in the energy sector, in the chemical industry, as well as manufacturing and logistics and customer service throughout Germany and Switzerland. And some more news. We just launched in Middle East and North Africa very recently, and we have had excellent feedback from our customers regarding connections to Japan, Pakistan, Russia, USA, and so on. So yeah, that's where we're going on at the moment.
Yeah, that's a wonderful road you have made. But what makes your company so special?
Yeah, I'd say 3 adjectives, or 3 words, which is passion, people, purpose. And what passion means for us is engaging in really innovative projects and putting the customer in the center of our thinking and solving problems that the customer has, and helping people is really our focus. and that's what's keeping us up at night, I'd say. And so people, our name Corevas, the CO in our name Corevas stands for collaboration. So we engage as a highly diverse team with various backgrounds, various knowledges, genders and ages. So that's why we can really focus on the problems from various standpoints and then solve the problems of our customers accordingly. So that's the collaboration. And also we engage with our partners to innovate and then find the best solution possible for our customers. And the purpose, the last point, which is then the RE in our name, the reach. We want to reach as many people as possible with our solutions, and we want to have value. We want to create value. So that's why we use the best technologies, the state-of-the-art data security, data privacy, and cybersecurity measures to create secure value for our customers. Also, the last thing, the S, which is simplicity in our company name. We want to create simple solutions. The simpler the better, and we want everybody to be able to use our products with something as simple as just pressing the button without any pre-installations necessary.
Yes, thank you. And on your way, how important was the regional or the European funding for doing this way to come at the point where you are standing now?
Yes, this brings me back to the CO, the collaboration with our company or in our company, and the collaboration with Enterprise Europe Network started back in 2017, where we went to a networking event of Zenit in Düsseldorf.
Yes, this was a successful R&I event, yes.
Yes, because there we were in the midst of the application for Horizon 2020 project, and we were looking for a technology development partnership, and this really kickstarted our technology development, and not 1 year later we were able to put the first version of our product on the market. And not only that, in the meantime, we've been granted 2 Horizon 2020 funds, as well as regional and national funds from the German Federal Ministry of Economics. And also, all those funds, of course, helped us with funding our development, funding our technology and patenting, but also what is really important, it is the customer. So we were able to talk to the customer, and customer awareness is the term I was looking for, and also the scientific proof of our concepts, and eventually, making money.
Yes, thank you. And in Düsseldorf, I think you found a partner from Poland that was very successful for your innovation. And yes, you are already on the market, so you're going to push the innovation through. But what are the next steps? What is your next project?
Yes, the next project is going to be enhancing the current technology that we have on the market at the moment with artificial intelligence, natural language processing, and machine learning. And for that, on the 1st June of this year, we were granted with the SPEL research project and by the Federal Ministry of Economics from Germany. And there we will embed all the AI, machine learning, natural language processing into service communication, but also crisis communication. And you may ask why. I mean, all those buzzwords floating around anyways. And but what COVID and especially like the natural disasters over the last year, for example, the most recent flood disaster in Germany and Belgium taught us, is that there is so much data already available, but the human brain cannot simply process the vast amount of data that is available and then put it down in a very organized manner. So that's why we are using AI for decision support and machine learning for smart data management in the future. And next to this research and development project, I'm going back there tomorrow morning as well. Yeah. We are organizing a big hackathon, which is like a central element of this research project as well. And we will further work on the markets, and we will launch the next version of our flagship product end of this year probably. And we will work on new features with our customers, for incident management, for customer communication, service communication, and crisis management.
Yeah, thank you. I think we will support you on your further way, and please send my very best regards to your father, Günther, and I hope we can stay and accompany your way.
Of course.
And you will be successful, I'm sure. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you also from my side. Thank you, Andrea. Thank you, Mr. Hule. And I now would like to introduce to you a client from the Chamber of Handicrafts in Stuttgart. My colleague Michael Rössler will present the journey together with Mr. Wolfgang Roskopf from Alfred Kies GmbH. Please, the stage is yours.
Thank you very much, Anke. Mr. Kleiner, the head of ministry, already said that this is the home of the Mittelstand, the German word for small, medium-sized, family-owned companies with a special mentality that makes it almost a normal challenge to go abroad, to be innovative, to find your niche where you're successful. And one of those companies is the Kies GmbH, Alfred Kies GmbH, with the CEO, Mr. Roskopf, here on stage. If you passed through the airport this morning, you probably have seen the waiting area furniture there. If not, pay attention when you go back. For those of you that are in Stuttgart, they have done that, this company, together with this greenery, the plants. It's a very nice entrance to the city. If you go to Moscow, take the elevator up the Federation Tower in Moscow, the interior of the luxury elevators leading up to the apartments, if you're invited by one of the rich people living there, by Alfred Kies. If you go to the Jungfraubahn, the top of Europe, there's a flagship store which they have done. So you see, wherever you go in Europe and beyond, you will find products from them. They started out with being a subcontractor to bigger companies. Now they have their own products, projects with other companies they bring along. So they're a good networking company, and we're very happy that we were able to support them for such a long time in the Enterprise Europe network. Mr. Roskopf, I would be interested, first of all, to hear from you what brought you to go abroad, what challenges do you see there, and how could the network help you? Herr Roskopf, ich würde Sie am Anfang gern fragen, was hat Sie dazu gebracht, die ganzen tollen Projekte im Ausland zu machen? Welche Herausforderungen gab es dabei und wie konnte das Netzwerk Sie dabei unterstützen bis jetzt?
Ja, wir waren sehr früh international unterwegs. Mit unseren Kunden sind wir in die ganze Welt rausgefahren und haben dann immer wieder mit Handwerk International Unternehmerreise gemacht, aber auch Netzwerke, Firmennetzwerke und vor allen Dingen die Beratung durch Handwerk International bei den Auftragsabwicklungen, bei Themen wie Mitarbeiterentsendung, jetzt aktuell Schweiz, Norwegen.
Das Thema Mitarbeiterentsendung ist für kleine Unternehmen ja besondere Herausforderungen. Wenn Sie da ganz kurz was dazu sagen können, warum und warum man da auch Unterstützung braucht als mittelständisches Unternehmen.
Naja, wir haben da in jedem Land, auch in Europa, innerhalb der EU, besondere Bedingungen. Jetzt waren wir in der Schweiz, Norwegen, da sowieso besondere Bedingungen, aber auch innerhalb von Europa gibt es im Rahmen der Mitarbeiterentsendung nach Spanien, nach Mallorca immer spezielle Anforderungen, die einzuhalten sind.
Mit Unterstützung von unserem Netzwerk, auch den Kollegen im Ausland. If you look at the challenges that we have abroad, if you're posting workers abroad, it's a big challenge for small and medium-sized companies, and the network has always been very good in helping succumb those challenges, post workers, have all the other regulations respected that you have to do abroad, and without that, small and medium-sized companies couldn't go abroad and couldn't do that successfully. Herr Roskopf, Sie haben auch den Landesumweltpreis 2021 gewonnen. Welche Bedeutung hat das Thema Nachhaltigkeit für Sie jetzt und in der Zukunft? Mr. Roskopf, you also won the Sustainability Award of our state of Baden-Württemberg this year, are part of a regional coalition that's called the Wind Charta. What importance does the topic sustainability have for you now and for the future?
Ja, wir sehen das als die herausragende Aufgabe der nächsten Jahre. Wir haben uns zum Ziel gesetzt, bis 2030 klimaneutral zu sein. Wir sind jetzt aktuell bei etwa 25% und wir sehen das als ganz wichtiges Kriterium, weil natürlich der Wettbewerbsvorteil jetzt da ist noch, wenn man so weit schon vorne ist, und in Zukunft werden es die großen Unternehmen verlangen, dass man da mit dabei ist. Also Daimler, Bosch als Beispiele, als wichtige Kunde hier in Stuttgart werden von uns verlangen, dass wir klimaneutral sind, und dem wollen wir vorgreifen und wollen da so schnell wie möglich nach vorne kommen.
He said that sustainability is a crucial issue for his company, out of conviction, but also because it's very important to prepare the company for the demands of the big companies that they're working for, like Daimler or Bosch. And they see the preparation they do now as a crucial part of their strategy for the future, and have already come very far and have a 25% a reduction goal already they achieved, and want to be climate neutral by 2030, and are on a very good way of achieving that. Herr Roskopf, wie ging es in der Corona-Krise? Wie kamen Sie da durch und wie hat das Netzwerk geholfen? How did your company get through the Corona crisis and how did the network help you?
Ja, die Corona-Krise war schon schwierig. Wir haben jetzt sehr viel Industrie. Es war sehr abgeschnitten am Anfang, und dann war die Problematik mit den geschlossenen Grenzen beziehungsweise mit Mitarbeiterentsendung. Wir hatten aktuell einen Auftrag in Mallorca, den dann abzuwickeln, haben wir mithilfe von Handwerk International uns angepasst an die aktuelle Situation, an die aktuelle Einreisebestimmungen und so weiter, und haben das dann nach und nach lösen können, diese Problematik.
The closed borders were a big challenge for the company because they have to send people abroad if they deliver their products and services, and the network was able to help in that case too, to help them through the very rapidly changing regulations. For example, they had a project they had to do in Spain with sending workers abroad, and that all worked fine, also with the help of the network here and in Spain to find out what the regulations are that have to be obeyed in order to do this securely. Herr Roskopf, was erwarten Sie in Zukunft vom Netzwerk und der Politik, dass Sie weiterhin so erfolgreich im Ausland tätig sein können? Mr. Roskopf, what do you expect from the network as a support and from politics to have good framework conditions that allow you in the future to be as successful abroad as you are today?
Ja, wir erwarten Mithilfe bei der Erschließung neuer Märkte. Zum einen, zum anderen hoffen wir auf Abbau von Bürokratie auch innerhalb Europas, und bis dahin hoffen wir auf Mithilfe, um die Bürokratie zu überwinden, Mitarbeiterentsendung, solche Themen einfach zu gestalten.
They expect help in finding partners abroad, customers, but also business partners, suppliers. It's very important for them that the framework conditions become less bureaucratic than they are today, but they also need us to support them in the framework conditions are today to be successful and be able to do their business abroad as well as they're doing it now. Herr Roskopf, vielen Dank. Thank you very much for coming here.
Vielen Dank für die Einladung.
That resumes our short segment. We wanted to give you a cross-section of different types of companies. It was our choice not to have just companies that are doing one thing and are great in the high-tech business, but to show that in Germany we're supporting all kinds of companies with all kinds of background, from crafts companies to solar, to app producers, and with different demands, different services, but as a network, and that's our strength, we're able to provide the services that we need. And I think in order to do that in the future, we need conferences like today. We need to interact, we need to connect, we need to know each other in order to do that, and that's why we're all, as a German network, but also as partners here in Stuttgart and Baden-Württemberg, are extremely happy that we now are making the first step out of the only digital age to see each other in person again. We wish you would all have you here, and not just on the screens at home, but I think next year maybe we'll get there. We're happy to have some people here, and we want to emphasize how important those formats are for the future. And I want to personally thank all the people who have made this conference possible. I've been involved enough to know that this has been an act of resilience from everybody who is involved in this, so that this is possible. So thanks a lot from my team, thanks a lot for the people in Brussels, and I think everybody working on this also deserves a Resilience Award, so that it's possible to go on doing this kind of networking for our companies.
Yes. And this is what will we do in the upcoming months, and therefore we will reconnect, renew, recover. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to our German partners and for these, and to the companies that joined us on stage to share their experiences. Certainly was very interesting to hear it firsthand. I have been told in the meantime that we have a little bonus. It's a pleasure to have heard that the two co-winners of the Resilience Award, we have seen the company that won the awards, but the two partners, the representatives of the Chamber of Commerce and Industry Occitanie from France and of the Croatian Chamber of Economy, are here with us this afternoon. So I'm going to call them both on stage so that they can receive their award as well. And welcome to Irena Spahic from the Croatian Chamber of Economy and to Emilie Vick from the Chamber of Commerce and Industry of Occitanie. Welcome to both of you. And I'm going, if you allow me, to pass by you so that I can hand over your awards, and congratulations, Irena. And Emily.
Thank you.
So, yes, maybe if you want to step over to that side a little bit, a little further to your right, so that you can have a few photos taken.
Thank you.
Thank you, and maybe you want to tell us, give us a few words and tell us how this whole experience was born and how it developed.
Yeah, thank you very much for this award. That is a good example of what the network can do when all its resources are used with motivation and reactivity. I'm representing my colleague from CCI Nouvelle-Aquitaine, Catherine Leblois. And as you know, during the COVID crisis, the French hospital of Poitiers in France encountered a shortage of water-soluble biohazard bags and faced an urgent need of supplies. As member of the sector group Healthcare and also well known by local stakeholders, Catherine Leblois was rapidly identified as a relevant contact to help the hospital. Thanks to the support of the Croatian Economic Chamber and also the sector group Agrofood, Catherine managed to send a profile of a Croatian supplier you saw earlier in 24 hours to the hospital. The matchmaking has been positive, and you have to know that the bags were delivered in less than 10 days. So both EEN advisors from France and Croatia proved the efficiency and responsiveness of the network. They provided a qualified support in a very short time frame. So thank you for this award that I'm glad to bring back to France.
Thank you. Thank you, Emilie. Irena.
As my colleague told you everything about our story, I would like to thank again to Enterprise Europe Network, to all our colleagues who voted for our story. I think our story is a great example how we, people from the network, with joint forces can do great things to help our companies, our clients. And this award means a lot to us, to the people from the Enterprise Europe Network Croatia Chamber of Economy, and it definitely gives us a great motivation for our further activities. Thank you.
Thank you both. Thank you for joining us today, and congratulations again. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're nearing the end of this opening session, and we thought that we would end on a musical note. So for those of you who've been wondering why this piano stands here, it's simply because it's going to be put to very good use right now. And it's a pleasure to welcome on stage Melanie Schlerf. Melanie studied singing and vocal coaching here in Stuttgart. She won several singing competitions, and she's now a soloist at the Bayreuth Festival. Melanie will be accompanied by Olga Wien on the piano. So Melanie and Olga, can I welcome you on stage? I cannot see you, but I'm sure you're around here. Yes, there you are. They will be performing two songs, Von ewiger Liebe by Johannes Brahms and Freude schöner Götterfunken by Ludwig von Beethoven. So welcome, and we're dying to hear you. Thank you very much, Melanie and Olga. Joy and love, what better way could there be of concluding this opening session? So, ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. We are coming back at 3:30 sharp for our breakout sessions. In case you have not registered, please make sure you do so. And of course, stay tuned also for the sessions coming up tomorrow and on Friday. Thank you all for joining us for this first session, whether here in Stuttgart or online. See you very, very soon in a few minutes for the follow-up. And thank you again, Melanie and Olga.